It happened on one of those days when winter felt like it had a personal vendetta against you. The wind cut through my coat like it wasn't even there, and the streets of Brookridge were buried under a white, frozen silence, except for the sound of my boots crunching toward the maintenance building, where I worked nights. I was the janitor at the sprawling Hawthorne Corporate Plaza. Fancy name for a place that smelled like copier ink and boardroom coffee. That night started like any other. I clocked in, pulled my cart out of the closet, and started my route. I liked nights, empty hallways, no one asking for just one more thing. But around 10:15, the fire alarm blared. At first, I figured it was a drill, maybe some system glitch. Then the smell of smoke rolled in heavy and real. I grabbed my flashlight and headed for the stairwell habit from my Navy days. That's when I saw her. A woman in a tailored charcoal suit, hair damp from the sprinklers, one hand gripping the railing, the other pressed against her ribs. Her heels were slipping on the wet steps, but her chin was high like she was trying to outrun gravity itself. "Get that door open," she barked, her voice sharp, but her breathing ragged. "Already did," I said, wedging the heavy door open with my foot. "Name's Daniel." "Can you walk? I can lead," she said, jaw tight. "I don't follow." A cough tore through her words, and her knees buckled just enough for me to step in, my hand catching her forearm. "Both," I told her, locking eyes. "I've got you." "And don't argue." We made it to the street where snowflakes hissed against the heat rolling out of the building. Fire trucks lit the night in strobes of red and white. She leaned against a lamppost, refusing the paramedic who offered her a blanket. "I'm fine," she said. I didn't believe her. Over the next week, word spread through the building. The woman I dragged out of the fire was Vivian Cross, the CEO. She'd built the company from a garage startup into one of the biggest tech firms in the Midwest. To me, she was just another tenant until the gossip started about her being finished. Insurance trouble, investors pulling out, competitors circling like vultures. The next time I saw her, she was in the lobby, hair pulled back, makeup gone, wearing a coat that looked borrowed. She was arguing with a man in an expensive suit. "Vivian, it's over," he said, voice dripping with that fake sympathy rich people use when they're happy you're losing. "Sell the rest, walk away with dignity." "I'm not selling," she said, her voice low but steady. He laughed. "Dignity's overrated when you are broke." She spotted me on my way past. "Daniel," she called like we were old friends. "You know any place I can rent for a week?" Cheap something in her tone told me she didn't mean cheap in the rich people way. I shrugged. "You can crash at my place. Couch folds out." Her brow lifted like she couldn't decide if I was serious. "I've got heat coffee, and no one's going to bother you there," I added. That's how Vivian Cross, the woman who once signed billion-dollar deals, ended up in my 2-bedroom apartment above a hardware store. My daughter Mia was over the moon. She'd seen Vivian on TV and thought she was a superhero. At first, Vivian was contained. She'd drink coffee at my kitchen table, staring out at the snow, answering emails like she could will her empire back into existence. But one night I came home to find her sitting cross-legged on the floor with Mia helping her build a Lego tower. She was laughing, really laughing, and for a second she didn't look like a COO or a fallen giant. She just looked free. Then came the storm after the calm. Her rival, same guy from the lobby, launched a smear campaign. News outlets ran stories about gross negligence and saw in hiding. At the grocery store, a man recognized her and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Hey, shouldn't you be in jail?" I stepped between them before she could answer. "Watch your mouth," I told him. He sneered. "What are you, her bodyguard?" "No," I said, leaning in. "I'm the guy who'll make sure you regret saying that to a woman who's already survived more than you ever will." Vivian didn't say anything until we got home. Then quietly she said, No one's ever done that for me. I shrugged. Guess you've been around the wrong people. That was the turning point. She started fighting back, not in boardrooms but from my kitchen table. Calls, emails, strategy scribbled on my daughter's sketch paper. She pulled in loyal staff, proved the fire was caused by faulty wiring from a subcontractor. And this was the wild part, she used the media storm to her advantage. Every attack they threw, she turned into proof she was being targeted. A month later, she walked into the Hawthorne Plaza lobby in a crisp navy suit, head high. The rival who'd been gunning for her was there, smug as ever. Back for more humiliation, he asked. She smiled, slow and dangerous. No. Back to take what's mine. Security guards stepped forward, not for her, but for him. Turned out she dug up his own backroom deals enough to get the board to toss him out that very morning. He blustered corset, but they escorted him out in front of every employee. She turned to me right there in the middle of the marble floor and said, "Daniel, I think I owe you dinner." I grinned. I don't take payment for being decent. But I do like steak. The company recovered stronger than before. Vivian kept her promise about the steak and more. She set up a scholarship fund in Mia's name, hired veterans for her security team. And once a month she still shows up at my apartment for chili night. People ask if we're together. Truth is, I don't know what we are yet. But I know this one night in the snow changed both our lives. And here's the thing, I keep thinking about how quick people are to celebrate your fall, and how rare it is to find someone who'll stand in your corner when the world's already counted you out. So tell me, if you saw someone the world decided was done, would you step in? Or would you step aside? I've learned that answer says a whole lot about a person. What about you? Would you fight for them or watch them burn?